So now we're working on removing the floor from the driver's side. This is a major part of the floor. There doesn't seem to be any of the original floor here. And what I've done is I've removed the gearbox tunnel. And as you can see there, that where they fabricated the floor, it didn't really line up with anything. So that didn't really work very well. Rivets everywhere again. And rivets across the bulkhead there, and this kick panel. I've started removing the rivets here. Yes, not too bad. Drilled most of them out. They came out quite nicely. It'd be interesting to see exactly what's behind here. Not a lot, I would say. The floor, where this was riveted to the side of the rockers and the kick plate, the only way really that to do this was I tried to cut out some of the rivets, but I gave up in the end and just ran the air chisel right the way along. It's probably a really good investment. I think I paid about I don't know, $20 for it, something like that. But it was only a really cheap one. But I just wanted something just to be able to do something like this, and I have to say it's actually worked really well. Just move around to the back now. That's the seat runner there, and the reason why it didn't want to come out was rotten anyway. But where they'd replaced this floor before, they hadn't used captive nuts, so to try and actually undo them, they were all seed solid. It would mean I'd have to cut them, but they're right by the chassis. It makes it really difficult to do. So the easiest thing to do was, as I was going to replace this anyway, was just to rip this out, and just, it doesn't matter. There's another one there you can see, look. So yeah, we've got lots of repairs actually going on at the back here. Most of that rear tunnel area. But I'm going to solder on now, remove these, where the floor connects to the chassis here, there. And we've got a couple more just there. Hopefully you can see those. So once that's done and these last rivets are removed here, this, in theory, this floor should just lift out. I'm gonna have a look. You can see under there at the pedal box, I'm gonna be repairing most of that. I think that's a good sandblasting and making that all look good. You can see the battery box there, what's left of it, and we've even got damage around the bell housing there. Just pure rust, really. Be interesting to know once I take this off what this footwell's going to be like, and what's really going to be behind this, as to how much I need to replace. But whatever it is, we'll get it looking good, and I'll give you an update as soon as I've got the floor out, and then we can have another look at the chassis and see what the chassis is like on this side. But yeah, so give you an update in a couple of minutes. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there we go. There's the floor out. There's the last bit of the original floor there, which I'm going to take out tomorrow. But the top part of the chassis looks really good. The outriggers there, and there's a little bit of rust on there, but that's all okay. I had to grind out the bolts. They had to be ground out, and I've got to tidy that up there. So that's the wire brush is going to go over that. As you can see, there's the bolt, which I had to cut out. Just dropped through. And tomorrow I'm going to tidy up the bulkhead area and remove the kick plate, and then we'll have a look to see exactly what we've got. You can see the original rubber strips, the body mounting strips that are on the car. There's another one there. Nice oil leak from the gearbox. To investigate that and find out exactly what's causing that. But not a bad day. The second floor was probably a lot easier to take out than the other one, and the good thing again was the fact that the chassis is actually in really quite good condition. There we go, that's enough for today, so I shall catch up with you tomorrow. It's a lovely day today, nice and sunny, probably about 20 degrees, so that's nice. Just going to come straight back in and have a look at the car. I was doing the floor yesterday, managed to get that out eventually, and then today what I thought I'd do is just have a look and see what's going on at the back of the car. So fuel tank basically got to come out. Underneath the car, the connection to the fuel line, 1/2 inch. Drop that out of the way. Just make sure you get your head out of the way so that you don't get all the fuel coming straight down, if there's any fuel left in it, of course, straight in your face. So have a little bucket or something underneath there. And getting this out is actually really difficult because there's not much space. From what I can see, it's got to come forward. I've actually managed to pull it out. The hardest part is where you've got this, okay, which is the filler. There is absolutely no room. You've got to wiggle it and jiggle it to get it back. And what I did was I managed to pull the tank forward and then get my fingers underneath the edge of this, the filler, and then push it back. You could just cut straight through it, but that would be too easy. So what I thought I'd do is just wiggle it and then get this to come back, and hey presto, the tank is now free. Other things of course you've got to do is disconnect the sender unit and make sure that's gone, and put the 2 cables for that aside. But once we've got this tank out, I'm going to lift it out in a moment, we'll be able to see exactly what's going on with this rear floor and to see what else we need to replace. Okay, so that's a little update on what's going on so far today. Tank's out next, then I'm going to set this boot lid off and have a really good look and a route around the back of this floor here to see how difficult it will be actually to change this, because there's lots of repairs here and it's really sort of, there's loads of surface rust. But I'm going to have a really good look before I make any decision as to whether I replace the whole of this or cut out some sections and repair it. So it just depends on the complete condition. Okay, so that's a little update. I'll come back to you in a minute as soon as I've got the tank out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we're back again. This time I've got the fuel tank out. Put that to one side. Condition of the fuel tank is actually really good, so I'm actually quite pleased with that one. Not so really pleased about the back of this car. Obviously you can see someone has replaced the boot floor before because there's no indentations in it, and it's really flimsy. And to get the holes, obviously, you know, for the fuel tank, they haven't really cut those out really well. Back again, just showing you what's happened when I've dug out some of the Bondo that's in the back of the car. You can see the repair here, okay, and you can just about make out those rivets which seem to run along the inside edge. But the problem I've got now is to really remove all this filler that's been sort of layered on across the back of the car, and then I'll be able to see exactly where the joint is. I actually think it's here, and then I can work out how I can remove this, take all this section out all the way around here, clean it all up and replace it. Just thought I'd give you another update. As you can see, filler, loads of it. Here's the original fender where it ends, and there's some metal work that's been put in, and then someone's whacked a load of Bondo filler straight over the top of it. I've gone over it with a wire brush so that I can see where the lines are, where the joint is. I'll just turn across the back there. But it's pretty nasty, as you can see there. Look at that one. And I don't know if you can see that gap, but it is now becoming a massive amount of work. There's just Bondo through there where the actual rear fender is just so weak. I think take the floor off and see what's below it really, and then take the rear fenders off and have a look at these panels and just see how far we can go. It's one of these projects where you think it looks okay, but being under so much filler and Bondo, you just really don't know. I knew it was going to be a challenge, but I didn't know it was going to be quite as big a challenge as this. But got to carry on, got to keep going, and hopefully eventually we'll be able to put it back together again and make it a thing of beauty and a joy forever. Okay, that's enough for today, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow, and I'll be showing you exactly how far I get with removing this rear floor.